This is going to be confusing. Believe me, it was confusing for me until I wrapped my head around all of this, and I'm still learning too. So with this file that we've saved, and all it is the PDF saved as an Illustrator file unchanged. The problem is this PDF has a clipping mask on it and a second rectangle that you can't see that's sitting right here. Because if we try to select something, say this anchor point, and click, we actually select the clipping mask, which is over the top of everything. So to get rid of the clipping mask, and if for some reason when you click, this outer edge isn't selected, and it absolutely positively should be, you can just roll over this outer edge in a white area, not over one of these guys, but over the edge where it says path, click, and then you have this large rectangle selected, then right click anywhere inside of it. When you right click, you can come down and say release clipping mask. When you do that, everything is seemingly selected. Well, not seemingly, it actually is. If we hit delete, everything goes away. I'm going to hit Command Z to undo that to bring everything back. Then click away to deselect, because I told you there's still a second rectangle here. If I click on this line, I get the line. However, if I click away and then click on the edge again on this path, click, you get this large rectangle, which is sitting here. And it says it has no fill and no stroke. But that, if I hit delete, it comes from our settings in fineLine. If now I click on a single path, it says I have no fill but a black stroke, and that stroke is 0 pixels wide, which should not be visible. It's got to be infinitesimally larger than 0 in order to appear at all. So this is a mystery with Michael's settings. And if we jump back over, I'm holding down Command and Tap and Tab with my ring finger, and I come over to fineLine. Notice that the line width right here is set to 0, and we can change this, and we will in the future. But for right now, just know that this 0 is not going to work very well in Photoshop. What we need to do is change the stroke width on all of these strokes, but not affect the anchor points. Now, depending upon your PDF, this next behavior is going to act differently, but for this one, it'll work just fine. Now, I'm going to deselect just so we're all on the same page. Click on any one of these paths. Don't click on an anchor point. Don't have that anchor point selected. Click on one path and then come up to select same fill and stroke. That's going to select every single path, but none of the anchor points. Pretty cool shortcut, huh? Now, let's come up to the stroke width, and if you don't have this control bar for some reason, you're not following instructions, you guys. Come on, window, control, right there. And if you haven't done that, chances are you haven't saved your custom workspace and you haven't done a lot of other things. So get with the program, go back, do the fundamentals, and then join us when you're ready. Now, for this, we want to change the stroke here. Just click on the up arrow once, 0.25 pixels. It shouldn't say points, it should say pixels, is what we want. If we click to deselect, it doesn't look any different. But that's okay, because that's just how these are being represented. Now, for these individual anchor points, if I click on one of them, notice that I have no fill and a stroke. And that stroke is 5 pixels. Now, if we come back over to fineLine, you're going to notice that the point size is set to 5 pixels. And it's not a hollow point. I really like the hollow points. But for right now, and that's talking about these, not bullets, these anchor points, what if we wanted to make this a little bigger? Well, we need to select every single one of these guys. How in the world would we do that? I think some of you know this already. Select same fill and stroke, right? And it looks as if nothing got selected, but there are these anchor points all the way around. And that means they're all selected And the easiest way to make sure they're all selected is to hit delete. Now watch, I'm going to hit delete. They all disappear. Then I can hit Command Z to undo, Command Z, undo, edit, undo. Don't go up here, learn that, because Command Z is so important. And then we can click on this up arrow to make these anchor points larger. Now, what's the right size? You know, I don't know. There is no correct answer to that. And for right now, I'm just going to leave it at 7 and say, great. Now we've gotten rid of the clipping mask. We've gotten rid of that second rectangle. We've made our strokes visible at 0.25 pixels instead of 0, and we've adjusted the size of our points. So let's go ahead and save this file, Command S, and then close it, Command W. Let's come back and let's open this file inside Photoshop. And actually, I shouldn't have closed it. So I'm going to open this up again because I want to show you one way to do this. There, of course, are lots of different ways to do this, but just trust me on this. This is a quick and easy way to do it. And let's come back and open this in Photoshop.